I have seen them look deeply uncomfortable, like they're arresting their granny.
She is still committing an absolute offence, and the law is the law, and you would expect police officers to uphold that law.
I would imagine many of you think that I'm hideously biased, and I understand that, that's it. There aren't many presenters, I don't think, on the radio or on TV either, who have as much sympathy for the cause of the Israelis in the dispute than me. I think you'd be hard-pushed to find anyone. But I don't think I want to live in a country where holding a poster saying, I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action means you get arrested? Isn't that an overreach? 522? Now, it is thought the highest number of arrests previously by the Met was the poll tax riots in 1990. That came in at 329. Now, there was a degree of violence both among the protesters and among the police, so it was very different. In the instance on Saturday, I read that two of them were women in their 80s. Now, again, Palestine Action are useful idiots to Hamas and Hezbollah and the terrorists. Palestine Action have threatened the defence of this nation by taking an aircraft out of commission. I absolutely, and I think I probably agree with Palestine Action being classed as terrorists, but simply holding a poster? Well, the arrests said, of course, followed after Yvette Cooper proscribed Palestine Action. Speaking with me last week, the Home Secretary defended the decision, said those who believe it to be a non-violent organisation are wrong.
The prescribing process is based on very extensive security advice and security assessments to me as Home Secretary, which I have to take immensely seriously. That security assessment looks at the violent attacks, injuries, attacks on national security infrastructure, and also includes assessment and some really troubling information about that refers to future attack planning as well. That's the basis on which this organisation has been prescribed. And let's be clear, this is a narrow organisation. This is not about protesting about Palestine, which huge numbers of people lawfully do. I understand there are people who don't really know the details of this organisation, who may be thinking about protesting, but who don't know. What I would say to them is more information is likely to be revealed about this organisation as various trials go through the legal system, and really this is not a non-violent organisation.
Now, this idea of mass arrests, which the protesters was going for, was something I put to Assistant Commissioner of the Met, Matt Twist, last week. He told me...
We've got an experienced command team, and as we've discussed several times before about public order, what's really important is the police have to deal with things as they find them. We also have to enforce the law as it is, not as others may wish it to be. So there's a lot of plans going in now to deal with if people do turn up and show support for a prescribed organisation, then the police will respond appropriately.
But what of their tactics that they want to go for mass arrests? They almost want to, outnumber you or swarm your colleagues. Yeah. What of that?
So we've seen that before, haven't we, in different sort of protest guises, and the plans that we have in place will be ready to deal with it.
So why did the protesters turn out? Well, this is what they told LBC.
Anybody who holds one of these signs is also complicit as a terrorist. It's an absolute absurdity. And, we've got to stand up and be accountable.
I expect to get arrested, yes. Well, obviously, I don't think I'm a criminal. That's not the person I am.
And the arrests did follow.
What a waste of police time! What a waste of our money!
Shame on you!
Now, one of the people who attended was Moazin Beg, a former inmate of Guantanamo Bay, where the Americans incarcerated terrorist suspects. That may, to some of you, feel a little bit sinister or a little bit strange, but does that mean that you nick 8 people in their 80s? Neil Basu, former Assistant Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police until very recently, now co-hosts the Crime Agents podcast on Global. Be sure to listen to Crime Agents on Global. Neil Basu joins me now. Neil, overreach, in your view? Morning.
Good morning, Nick. No, and you'd expect me... I've just heard the words of the Home Secretary and Matt Twist. I know them both very well. These are not people who are prone to overreach, in my view. The police had no choice. So I predicted last week on a different radio show that, they'd either be too hard for the left and too soft for the right. But policing has one job to do, and that is to enforce the law of the land. I think Matt Twist put it brilliantly when he said the law as it is, not the law as some people may wish it to be. That law was passed by a government based on intelligence. The intelligence is, I've been in those meetings. Effectively, the MI5 lead the intelligence picture for domestic threat against the UK. They'd be supported by my successors in counter-terrorism policing.
I'm not disputing for a second Palestine Action, Neil. I'm not. But an 89-year-old woman carrying a poster with the text, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action," arrested under terrorism laws. You're telling me that an 89-year-old woman with a poster is a potential terrorist, Neil?
No, I think those things make us all feel incredibly uncomfortable.
Well, why did they do it then?
People, well, because they don't know the full facts, and I think that's what the Home Secretary was trying to say.
But
So,
that woman isn't helping spray paint on an RAF jet. She's just wanted to come out and have her freedom of speech in this country, Neil.
No, of course she isn't, but she is still committing an absolute offence, and the law is the law, and you would expect police officers to uphold that law. That law will then have to go through a two-code test with the Crown Prosecution Service, the Attorney General, before those people get even close to being charged and put before a court, and then the judiciary will take their effect, either judge and jury or a judge making an assessment of the law. That's the way things work in this country. We have a law, it's tested in the courts. We'll see what the outcome of that is.
So finally, Neil, only for time reasons...
Your point is it an offence?
Yeah.
Yes, unfortunately it is.
Lastly, you've served as an Assistant Commissioner at the Met. Presumably there will take place later today some kind of review or action. What would happen after such a major operation such as that, Neil?
There's always a review about everything that went either well or everything that went badly. I've seen some reportage about excessive use of force, but I've not seen that in any of the broadsheets or on the radio. I think essentially the plan went exactly as...
No, I agree. No, I think you're right. And funnily enough, I was in the area, and your former colleagues were there in considerable numbers. Neil, thank you. Neil Basu, former Assistant Commissioner of the Metropolitan Police, co-hosts the Crime Agents podcast on Global. Be sure to listen to that. Is that really a terror offence? Katie McFadden, as Senior Associate Solicitor at Hodge, Jones and Allen, acting for some of the protests, joins me now. Well, that's the case, if you will, for the prosecution. What would you say is the case for the defence, Katie, if I may call you that? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I mean, the case for the defence is that this was a group of people who were willing to go out to risk arrest, to risk prosecution, and to risk, yes, being deemed as terrorists in order to protect one of the most fundamental rights that we have, which is freedom of speech and freedom of expression. That is a key part of any democratic society and a key part of the rule of law.
Do you honestly think they're going to be put on charged?
3 people have already been charged for going out and taking part in similar actions on the 5th of July.
So, Katie, do you honestly think there's going to be 522 more cases?
It will be a decision for the Crown Prosecution Service about whether they believe it's in the public interest to prosecute, as you say, an 89-year-old woman for holding a sign that says, "I oppose genocide, I support Palestine Action."
Lastly, how concerned are you that this, I think I said, could be police overreach? How much does that concern you as a legal professional, Katie?
I think the issue is actually not police overreach. The police were ordered to go out and do their job. Frankly, I've never seen quite so many police officers look so vastly uncomfortable with the decisions that they had been...
You were there, just to clarify.
I've been in the police stations throughout the protests.
I see.
So I've been dealing with these police officers.
Of course you have.
I have seen them look deeply uncomfortable, like they're arresting their granny.